right. So, all right, that was a weird episode. So, since I've only watched the first episode, we haven't gotten much. So, based on this first episode, I'm saying I liked season 1 better because it covered more ground. I mean, I realize that this is jumping from year to year, and this is just the first episode of year 4 of BBY. But last season, we figured out, okay, Andor is looking for his sister. We knew, um, we had his call to action. Now, granted, he did steal a Imperial ship for Luthen, but we don't know why. We don't, and even when he got captured by other rebels, because that first scene was hilarious. So we don't know what happened to that girl who was helping him, who looks like she was, I don't know, a rebel posing as an Imperial or an Imperial who's helping the rebels. That I'm unsure. And so that scene was much funnier than I expected it was going to be, with Andor trying to figure out how to pilot the ship, because every good test pilot should have zero clue how ships work. But we don't know why he took the ship. I mean, obviously it was for Luthen, but he wouldn't even tell the rebels. This is how unorganized they are. They can't even tell each other, even though he's like, I'm part of the same rebellion as you. I'm part of the same resistance as you. But he won't tell them who ordered him to steal the ship? What sense does that make? I understand that, people are supposed to be kept in the dark about certain things, so if someone got captured, the head honchos of the rebellion aren't going to go down. But at some point, if nobody on the rebellion knows except for their little group who's doing what, you end up with what happened to Cassian, getting captured by the rebels, and the rebels acting like a bunch of fucking kindergartners, always arguing. And it's like, okay, first I liked the blonde guy because he was being reasonable. Let's first ask him who he is before we shoot him. That sounds practical. And then the other guy was starting to, make sense. It's something about his brother being part of a rebellion, and I guess he ditched them, is what I could figure out. So apparently they know Mia or Maya, but yet Andor couldn't say that Luthen sent him. Luthen sent him to do this. Why not? I mean, the worst that'll happen is that Luthen had someone else give the instructions, so they don't know about him. In which case, Andor would be screwed, but he's screwed anyway. Because. And now they are fighting amongst themselves and shooting at each other because they have to find out who's in charge, and apparently no one was left in charge. I mean, this is just so amateurish. Why couldn't someone go up to them and say, okay, this person's in charge, this person's the second. I understand that you're trying to keep things loose. So if one rebel group is captured, the entire alliance doesn't go crumbling down. But there is a limit to that. And this is probably going to be the beginning of the alliance starting to take proper shape, because this is unsustainable. They can't be constantly quibbling over hierarchy or capturing their own freaking pilot and not knowing who he is and not believing him when he says he's part of the alliance, which, if they've never seen him before, fair. You can't blame them for not believing him. But his contact never showed up. So God knows what's going on with that. It's entirely possible that his contact got the same treatment that Andor is getting. And so they probably killed him. I mean, this is unsustainable for the Alliance. Obviously, we know that they get their shit together, but this is just insane. So we also got Mon Mothma, and everybody's happily at this, I guess, pre-wedding party. And Lita looks super thrilled to be getting married. Now, it seemed like in the first season that she was doing this just simply to rebel against her mother. And I thought that at this point she would be like, okay, this is far enough. I don't want to have anything to do with this. Or that she would run away like her aunt or something. But it seems like he is the one who's not thrilled about this marriage. So instead of her, being basically sold into slavery, he's the one who's reluctant. So Lita will be fine. I mean, obviously she's upset because she keeps trying to talk to her groom, trying to get to know him because they're getting married, and he wants nothing to do with her. And of course she's going to be upset about that. I mean, this must look like a personal failing on her part. Like, what am I doing wrong type thing. Even though you really didn't meet. The whole point of what she's doing is trying to get to know him. And, not everybody's into that. Again, she should talk to her freaking aunt. She ran away. Of course, her circumstance was also different in the sense that she's into girls, not guys, so she had another reason to run away. But, so yeah, to assume that it's always the women who are being forced into these arranged marriages. It's actually refreshing that Star Wars is showing that, nah, the guys are just as much a victim in all this. They aren't necessarily interested in being forced to marry. So that's refreshing. Bix is still suffering from being attacked by that evil doctor. But the way she saw him approaching her and, grabbing the sheets before she woke up and started screaming. Did he just torture her? Or did he actually rape her? Because that looked suspiciously rapey. Now, obviously, it wasn't him. It was just her nightmare. And they had to wake Bix up. I'm actually impressed with how well she was able to fix things, you know, because I can't imagine that that was her only nightmare that she had was that one time. I mean, they did say she had another nightmare. I can imagine that she's had plenty throughout this night and throughout all the nights the past year, since this is called 1 year later. So, I mean, this isn't something that you just forget about, even after a year. It's still going to happen, especially since she obviously isn't getting therapy. So she has no one to talk to about this. She has, and, they're in a situation where the Imperials they're fighting the Imperials. So she really has no reason to have gotten over this, even though, I don't know, I can't remember, did they kill that doctor at the end of last season? I forgot. Let's see. So apparently the new target for the Imperials is going to be Gorman. And simply because of their textile industry, it sounds like. So, and of course, as all fascist governments do, it's like, yeah, we have to ensure that everything works in our favor, so we're going to subject these people to our will. Because that's how good functioning governments act. So yeah, I was watching this presentation. I'm like, how long is this going to be? I was so bored. But they kept showing, I cannot remember her name. The blonde haired girl that last season some people thought was actually Andor's sister, which is something they seem to have dropped. There was no mention at all. I mean, granted, he's in the middle of a mission when we see him. So I don't know if we're still going to have mentions of him looking for his sister. And that this was just okay, I'm working for the rebellion now. So I'm really curious about that. Now, when they showed her, first she just kept, looking around like, why am I here? What's going on? Is there something I have to worry about? Why am I here? But they also showed what looked like a red, I don't know, mole or something on her face. Now, I don't know if that was intentional or they were just, because they could have showed her from any angle. And they did show her from the face, facing us, but they also like to show that red mole, and I can't remember if that was there last season. So I don't know if there's something specific about that we should concentrate on and that it has some sort of a meaning. Let's see, what else is there about this episode? So it ended with this firefight amongst the rebels because, obviously the best way to beat the Imperials is to be completely at each other's throats at all times of the day. And, mistrust each other, attack each other, try to kill each other. Yeah, that's a surefire plan to success. And some of the Imperials, because Cassian tried to run away, which, okay, what are you going to do? Your hands are tied behind your back. You have a hard enough time piloting that thing when your hands are not tied behind your back. And a couple of the rebels grabs him and I guess are going to drag him into that ship, the very ship he seemed to have been running to anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting which of the rebels end up surviving and what ends up happening. But I'm sure a lot of this could have been, at least from Andor's perspective, could have been handled better if he could just tell them about Luthen. He's the one who ordered the ship get taken. But he said that he can't tell us. He can't tell them. Why? I mean, are there so many faction leaders that if he mentioned Luthen's name, he figured they wouldn't know who that is? Seriously, that is not, that's not good. So anyway, hopefully I'll be able to watch episode 2 and do a video still tonight, but I'm unsure of that. That's still up in the air. I believe that is all I have for this episode. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.